Do you think Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah, I think he can win.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he can win.
So
but
he's
going to have to box a brilliant fight.
And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster.
Especially the super middleweight who's been up at light heavyweight. I don't see how he can do that and perform for longer than 4, 5, maybe 6 rounds.
Really,
I just think the weight will get to him. I used to spar welterweights.
But then again, I think about Crawford's abilities and his IQ and his footwork, which Canelo cannot handle. And we know that for a fact.
It's a mistake. That's the warning from boxing legend Evander Holyfield when it comes to the much-hyped showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford.
It'll be hard to beat Canelo. He's real basic, but he's a good fighter.
While a lot of fans are buzzing with excitement about the fight, Holyfield didn't hold back. He thinks Crawford could be walking into serious trouble.
I just think each fight is the individual themselves to how they think. And but
Evander knows all about moving up in weight. He's done it successfully himself, and that's why his opinion carries weight. He didn't disrespect Crawford, but he made it clear he's picking Canelo in this one. He described Canelo as a very basic fighter, but not in a bad way. What he meant was that Canelo does everything right, and sometimes that's even more dangerous than flashy moves. He believes Canelo's power and experience at this weight class are going to be big problems for Crawford.
He wants to move up 3 weight classes, Terence does, and fight Canelo. What do you think of that? For Canelo's undisputed titles.
it'll be hard to beat Canelo. He's real basic, but he's a good fighter.
UFC commentator and podcast host Joe Rogan has also voiced his thoughts about Terence Crawford facing Canelo Alvarez. Speaking on his podcast, Rogan didn't question Crawford's skill. He's a big fan of what Bud brings to the table, but he strongly feels that Crawford would have to box a brilliant fight. According to Rogan, Crawford should take a more gradual approach in the ring.
Do you think Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah, I think he can win.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he can win.
So
but he's going to have to box a brilliant fight.
Now, Crawford is chasing history. At 37 years old, the Omaha-born fighter is looking to become the first man ever to become undisputed champion in 3 different weight divisions. That's a crazy goal and one that could really cement his legacy, but to do it, he'll need to beat a guy who's naturally bigger, stronger, and used to taking punches from fighters much heavier than what Crawford's used to.
Just be myself and just don't get careless in the ring and stay sharp all 12 rounds if it goes 12 rounds. I think that's the only thing that I need to do, and make sure that in training that I sharpen up all my tools.
On the other side of the fence, sports analyst Stephen A. Smith has a completely different outlook. He recently said he thinks Crawford is going to beat Canelo by decision.
I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble, and I'm not sure it was him, but I think it was him. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's going to go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard.
On Andre Ward's podcast, Smith explained that while nobody's likely to knock Canelo out, someone like Crawford, who moves well, jabs, switches stances, can definitely outpoint him. He said Crawford's footwork and boxing IQ would make the difference.
And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster. But I don't think he's gonna knock him out.
Stephen A. also pointed out something he doesn't like about Canelo's style. He said Canelo loads up too many of his shots. Like every punch is meant to knock someone out. That kind of style, he thinks, just won't work against someone slick and calculated like Crawford. According to Smith, this approach might backfire, especially when Crawford starts racking up rounds on the scorecards with volume punching and movement. Still, Smith did acknowledge that Canelo is used to fighting at 168 pounds and has natural strength that Crawford doesn't have. He said if Crawford tries to stand and bang, he could get hurt. Even Gervonta Davis's trainer said something similar. Just because Crawford's added muscle doesn't mean he's built for the weight. Fighting at 168 takes more than just putting on pounds. It's about being comfortable at that size in real fights.
I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble, and I'm not sure it was him, but I think it was him. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's going to go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always
prepared.
He's always ready. He's always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster. But I don't think he's gonna knock him out.
Now, what makes this whole event even more unique is the way the undercard is being planned. Turki Al-Sheikh, the man behind the event and the head of Riyadh Season, announced that the undercard will actually stretch over 2 or 3 days. Instead of squeezing all the prelim fights into one night, they're spreading them out to give new fighters more spotlight. Al-Sheikh says over 20 fights are scheduled, and most of them will feature young talent from around the world. The goal is to give rising stars a real shot at making a name for themselves.
The undercard, it will be between 2 or 3 days, imagine, for 2 or 3 days. We have now reached more than 20 fights to do in the undercard. And 95% of this card is talent, and people around the world have very big chance to be star in the future.
So you're saying maybe fights on Thursday, Friday?
Then Saturday.
It's like a fight festival.
Yeah. It must be something like this.
Back to the main event, former world champ Carl Froch weighed in too, and he didn't sound too confident about Crawford's chances. Froch said Crawford's obviously skilled and full of tricks, but that moving up this many weight classes is just too much. He said he doesn't see Crawford lasting more than 4 to 6 rounds. Froch thinks the size difference is just gonna wear him down quickly.
I think it's a great fight. It's really interesting, intriguing, because Crawford's so good, so talented, unbeaten, the box of tricks. I thought the Errol Spence fight would have been close and he absolutely demolished him. But I just think he's out of his weight division. Well, he is out of his weight division. 2 or 3 weight divisions is coming up.
Yeah.
And I just don't see how a welterweight can step up to super middleweight, especially a super middleweight who's been up at light heavyweight. I don't see how he can do that and perform for longer than 4, 5, maybe 6 rounds.
Really,
I just think the weight will get to him. I used to spar welterweight.
He even shared his own experience sparring with smaller fighters like Kell Brook, who's a welterweight. Froch said they're usually competitive for a couple of rounds, but once the bigger guy leans in and starts pounding the body, it's over fast.
Okay.
And they're good for a round or 2 because they're quicker than you. When they're skillful and fast, they've got you on the end of the jab, they're catching you with shots. But the minute you get pissed off and just close that distance a little bit, start to lean on them, start to wrap them around the body and bring it back upstairs, it's almost like the fight's over. It's like you can just bully somebody. There's weight divisions in boxing for a reason.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? And in some of the divisions, there's only 4 or 5 pounds between the divisions. This is Terence Crawford coming up 3 weight divisions, coming up from 147 all the way up to 168, super middleweight, against a guy who's established at super middleweight, undisputed king. And his won titles at light heavyweight as well.
He's got a lot to prove, and he really
He's got a massive amount.
What advice would you
And
give
he's the
to
older
Terence?
fighter, Crawford. He's 38, 39 years old.
He said this is exactly what might happen when Canelo starts pressing forward. That's why he's calling Canelo the heavy favorite.
Canelo's got more miles on the clock, so they're over 65. But he's not a young man, Terence Crawford. So it's outstanding what he's doing. I don't like to say it, but he might be cashing out. He might be thinking big fight with Crawford, with Canelo, big cash out fight. And if you can just stay in there and make it close, maybe you'll get 2 out of it. But we'll see, because if Crawford goes in there and outboxes and demolishes Canelo, I'll be amazed. So I'm making Canelo a massive favourite for that one.
Canelo a massive favourite? Yeah.
I'm making him a massive favourite purely on the size. I know what it's like to spar welterweights. I sparred Kell Brook and the likes, and he was a good fighter. And like I said, 2 or 3 rounds, you're having a little boxing match, you're enjoying it, whatever well, you're not enjoying it because you're getting outboxed.
But not everybody sees it that way. Tim Bradley, another former champion, has a lot of confidence in Crawford. In fact, he thinks the fight won't even be close. Bradley looked at Canelo's recent performances and said they've been average. Not bad, but not great either. Meanwhile, he sees Crawford as being on another level. He mentioned that even if Canelo were on something illegal, it still wouldn't be enough to stop Crawford. That's how highly he rates him.
One more thing. It don't matter if Canelo is on that. He ain't beat no Terence Crawford. You heard it here first. Plus, I look at the performances of Canelo. I look at his last performances. I mean, they've been all right, you know. It ain't been like, you know, wow, you know, blew me away. So I'm not really worried about all of that. And the same thing goes with Crawford. I know he's with Snack, and I know some news came out this week and all of that, but I personally believe that Snack is clean. I think it's a conflict of interest, the fact that, hey, he knows how to beat the system, quote unquote, Victor Conte, but at the same time, I think Snack, you got products going around the world, this and that. I mean, all these athletes are testing. They're not testing anything or positive by using Snack at all, so I think they're safe. There's no doubt about it.
And it's not just Bradley who's speaking up. Oscar De La Hoya, a Hall of Famer and Canelo's former promoter, also believes Crawford is too skilled for Canelo. He said Canelo just won't be able to keep up with Crawford's movement, precision, and ring smarts. Coming from someone who's seen Canelo's rise firsthand, that's a strong statement.
But then again, I think about Crawford's abilities and his IQ and his footwork, which Canelo cannot handle. And we know that for a fact. It happened with Bivol, it happened with Mayweather, who schooled him left and right with no problem, and Canelo was way stronger than Mayweather. So there's
Don't you think Canelo's a better fighter than he was then, today?
A better fighter, yeah, a little better, yeah. His footwork is still the same. He's flat-footed, he's very heavy on his feet.
Obviously, Canelo has the power to hurt anyone.
In this game, power means a lot. If you can't keep your guy off you, or you don't know how because it's too much pressure, and the one thing about Crawford is that he knows how to handle the pressure.
Bernard Hopkins also shared his thoughts, but his take was a little more balanced. Hopkins gave Crawford credit for daring to move up in weight and take on this kind of challenge. He called it a bold move and something true champions do. Hopkins said Crawford absolutely has a real shot at pulling off the upset because of his heart, talent, and smart game plan. But at the same time, he admitted that Canelo isn't a pushover. It's not going to be easy for either man.
Chance. He have a great chance because his heart, his talent, and also his game plan and his strategy. But Canelo is no pushover. I've watched Canelo for multiple years. Again, the best is fighting the best, and Crawford dared to be great, and this is one of the ways you do it, and you tell the world, watch, pay attention.
Crawford himself hasn't been overly cocky going into this fight. He knows exactly how big the risk is. Jumping up from welterweight straight to super middleweight is a massive leap. It's not like he's going up one weight class. He's skipping 2 or 3, but that's what makes this fight so exciting. He's not playing it safe. He's going for something historic.
I don't care about nobody else. And you will see that. So when I beat you, is you gonna be a nobody? When I stump a mud hole in your ass, is you gonna be a nobody? Same everybody else been saying since I moved to 147, I ain't fought nobody. Every last one of them stump a mud hole in their ass and he gonna be next.
The stakes are sky high, not just in terms of legacy, but also money. This fight is said to be worth about $200 million, which tells you how big of a deal it is. This isn't just a fight, it's a full-on mega event.
Terence gotta be Terence, bro. He's a real deep thinker. He processed fights like nobody else. And he's processed this Canelo fight. He's seen it. He went through it 2 or 3 times already. He knows how this ends. You can tell the way he shadow boxes. He visualizing Canelo being right there in front of him. You understand? Look at the movement. That's all you got to do. Look at the movement. And that's the type of master boxer that Canelo is going to be facing. And the only thing I say is Canelo hasn't faced an opponent like this in a long time. You know what I mean? I think Canelo's going to have to go back.
At the end of the day, this clash is about more than just who's stronger or faster. It's about timing, strategy, and who can execute better on fight night. Canelo has the power, experience, and natural size. He's been in big fights and taken shots from bigger men, but Crawford has the IQ, the speed, and the sharp boxing skills. He's daring to be great, and sometimes that's exactly what it takes to shake up the sport. With legends, analysts, and fighters all split down the middle, the world is watching. Some believe Canelo's size and pressure will be too much. Others think Crawford's sharpness and movement will carry him to a clear win. Either way, this fight is one of the biggest moments in boxing in years. Fans will pack Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas on September 13th, and millions more will watch from around the world. The talk will continue until the first bell rings, but when it does, all the predictions, interviews, and hot takes won't matter. It'll just be Canelo and Crawford toe-to-toe in a fight that could go down in history. If you're hyped for this historic clash, don't forget to hit that like button, drop your prediction in the comments, and share this with your fellow fight fans. And for non-stop coverage, expert takes, and exclusive updates, make sure to subscribe to Ring Rivalry. This is where the fight lives.